Everyone. Thank you so much for the brief intermission. Hope you all learned a lot about Bill. And once again, go to the Expo section and you can chat to Bill, or you can actually find him individually in the chat feature. In the event feature, you can actually find him as a person, send him a message. And we have here now Hope with the U of A Agricultural Extension. We do want to let everyone know that Isaac's video will be shared, and we will do like a brief little introduction of him. But we're having Hope go because she is here live and in person. And so with that, thank you so much, Hope, and take it away.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm just making sure you can hear me. Okay, so great. Thank you so much for having me. Kind of replaying a presentation that we did last year with Isaac, but Isaac's not at Extension anymore, but he has resources on a website that all of his resources that he put together are available on the website. So I will share those. I will send an email so that they can share that with you. My name is Hope Wilson, as he said, and I'm an area associate agent in Yavapai County. I also am a food safety area specialist for Yavapai, Coconino, Mohave, Pima, and Maricopa County, but that's retail and consumer food safety. I am not your on-farm food safety specialist. However, I can share information about that as well. If you are interested in on-farm food safety, there are online trainings that meet the requirements for the Food Safety Modernization Act, Produce Safety Rule. And even if it doesn't apply to you, I think the information would be very helpful. I found it to be much more relatable than the GAP training that I've attended as well. And those are available on the Arizona Department of Agriculture's website. And also it's in partnership with the Arizona Department, with the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension. But I'm going to talk about what you can do post-harvest and some of the things that Cooperative Extension does. And I want to thank Bill for mentioning us several times. And actually, I want to talk to Bill about one of the questions I had, but I'll go to his booth later. So if you could go to the next slide. So my area is actually family, consumer, and health sciences, and no one knows what that means. A long time ago, you might have referred to me as the home economist, but we do a lot more than that. So in the circled sections here are where my areas fall, but primarily under food, nutrition, and health. But we do also work with youth, communities, school gardens, community. We do work with promoting SNAP. We do work with promoting use of EBT in farmers markets, and we also work in federally recognized tribes. Next slide, please. And before I start what we're doing here in Yavapai County, there is a Cooperative Extension office in every county, and you can go to our website and find, it's actually extension.arizona.edu, and click on locations to find the contact information for the person in your county. Currently, in Yavapai County, and we're trying to spread these things statewide, it's happening in a few other counties. Actually, Coconino and Mohave have also started offering the Certified Professional Food Managers course. It's a mid-level safety training for food establishments. So this is required if you have a food establishment's license. The 2017 FDA food code, which is now the state level food, what it is for the state level, that is different for each county, but now that they've raised it up to the state, that is the minimum for all counties. You're required to have a certified professional food manager on staff during all hours of operations. So if you have a license of any type food establishment, you would need to have someone with that training. It's an excellent training to have if you process or considering processing something, any type of value added product. I would consider starting there to learn a little bit more about food safety in general and a lot of the requirements. But if you're processing, you'll probably need to have a little bit of a higher level food safety education. We also teach a food preservation and food safety class. I am actually offering a canning class. It's a home canning class, but it goes over the basics and the food safety of canning. And then if you wanted to can as a business, there's several options for that. But this goes over the basics of canning. So if you wanted to just learn about canning in general, that's on March 1st and 3rd at noon. It's a 2-session class. I think it almost is full if it's not full already. We will offer more. If you want to see classes that we're offering, I would suggest you go to the extension.arizona.edu/calendar link there. And any of our public classes that are available are available. You can see them usually advertised on that site. And that's not just for our county, it's for all counties. And it's not just family consumer health sciences. Oh, my slide disappeared. Okay. You'll see them for all counties and all programs. Next slide, please. Oops, there we go. Some other programs that we're working on, we've offered one session already with our local farmers market about food costing. And this is not necessarily so much about food safety as helping, especially small businesses that want to get started, or people are selling at farmers markets. Most of the programs I'm talking about here are for small businesses that may kind of fall within not having a lot of federal or state regulations, but have some regulations, and we want to help them understand those regulations to get started. Bill covered a lot of the things that we try to provide education on when he's talking about regulations that you might need to meet, especially with value-added products. So food costing is helping small food businesses establish recipes, standardizing them, looking at the actual cost of that recipe, and knowing how much to charge, and also looking at the cost that would make it more marketable. Arizona's Cottage Food Program, that is if you are processing or making foods at home, but they have to be foods that are considered they do not have to be time temperature controlled, so they're considered sort of shelf stable. That's generally baked goods, although jams and jellies, fruit jams and jellies with a certain level of acidity and sugar do fall under that program now. And so if you have questions about either one of these, I can answer them. I'll probably refer you to Amy in the food costing workshop, but in terms of the cottage food, I'd be happy to help you navigate that system. We have talked with the Arizona Department of Health Services, and we're developing a training for them because they're the ones who house this program. We're also working on helping people understand the different rules and regulations that apply, especially to value-added or small food businesses. And state level now, multiple agents that I've been working with. We have a food safety working group. Same thing with HACCP. And if you're doing some kind of special processing, you would need to know HACCP as well. Next slide. So these are your contacts if you live in Coconino or Mohave County. Christy Stuth has the same position as I do in both of those counties. And Andrew Brischke, who is not a horticulture specialist, but he is our ag and natural resource person. He is also in Mohave County. Next slide. Oh, well, that didn't turn out right, but thank you so much. Again, we are a resource for you. If I can't find the answer for you, I can refer you to someone who does. My area is really retail and consumer food safety, and with also looking at helping people start answering some questions and guiding people through the process for value added. And I think that's probably why I'm here today. I'm happy to answer any. I don't know if we're taking questions now, but.
Yeah, if people would like to put in questions, what we'll do is we'll take questions for like 5 minutes on your topic, and then I'll just do a brief little introduction with Isaac's Isaac's video.
Okay.
So I have a question for you as far as the regulations and rules in accordance to being a nonprofit or a limited liability. Like, what is the difference? Or is everyone responsible to have this, no matter their operation, no matter their for-profit, nonprofit?
Oh, well, it depends on what you're making and where you're selling it. So when it comes to food safety, even if you're a nonprofit, there's still food safety requirements you need to meet, because being a nonprofit doesn't necessarily make your food any safer or less safe. And also, if you plan, it depends on where you're selling it. So if you're wanting to sell to a retail food establishment, they're going to have approved source guidance that they're going to have to meet. And so you'll have to meet what their requirements would be. If it's at a farmer's market, you would probably deal with the local food authority and what their requirements are. But if you're planning to sell it, there will be food safety requirements, generally speaking. In some cases, there's ag exemptions for some products. But if you're processing it, you'll probably have some kind of regulations.
Awesome. And then it looks like someone shared for Novel counties the extension email. So for anyone that are in those counties, and then it looks like Hattie Braun is here. So shout out to
Hattie.
County. Yeah, so this is really good. I know last year people kind of in the last 2 years, because of societal changes, there was a lot of cottage law and a lot of like investment. Can you talk a little bit about the opportunities for someone to maybe look at doing something with cottage law?
Yes. So I actually spoke with the program coordinator for cottage food. I don't know if she's here, but at the state level, that is a program that was written into law. I can't remember how many years ago, maybe 2011. And it's actually administered through the Arizona Department of Health Services. And I talked to her a few months ago, and she said that during the beginnings of the pandemic, the number of applications they got for cottage food doubled. A lot of people were starting to start their own home food businesses. Arizona cottage law is a little bit different than other food safety regulations because it's for foods that generally do not have to be kept refrigerated or heated to a certain level. So it's generally was considered baked goods. People would call it that. There is some confusion though, because people, when they hear cottage food, think that's any food that people prepare at home. And it's not, but you do have to prepare it at home, but it can only be certain foods. So, for example, I have an example that I do where you're talking about the difference between jam and pickles, because both of those are canned in the canner. You can those items. Jam is, if it's fruit jam, is generally high in acid. So you don't have to go through a lot of the process naturally that you would have to do with other foods. For example, with pickles, you're artificially, or if you're fermenting them, but you're adding acid to the food that it didn't have before. So with jams and jellies, fruits are higher in acid, plus there's sugar. So they're generally, you still have to prepare them right, but they're generally perceived as safer than if you were canning pickles because of the natural acidity and sugar in jam, in fruit jam. So those are now, they didn't used to be initially, cottage food. So if you prepare those jams at home, according to, there are specifications about the amount of sugar and the fruit you can use, but if you prepare those at home, you can sell those under the cottage food program, but you do have to register with the cottage food program. It's on the Arizona Department of Health Services website. And if you do, then, and you sell under a certain amount, then that would be a cottage food. If you are making pickles, still canned in a jar, and you're adding acid, those are not cottage food. You have to, you cannot sell those and make them at home. You will have to use a processor. You'll have to use a commercial kitchen, and you will probably have to have some kind of processing license from your local health department to sell those. If you made that jam, which qualifies for cottage food, if you made it in a commercial kitchen, it is no longer considered cottage food. I don't know if that confused. I have a visual that I could share with you. I don't have it up right now, but that's like kind of the complications. Generally, it's cakes, brownies, cupcakes, those kinds of things that were cottage food. And then they added jams and jellies to that list. So if you go to the website for Arizona Department of Health Services in their Arizona Cottage Food Program, there's actually a list of allowed and disallowed foods for cottage food. And then you can go from there. And if you would like some help navigating which foods, I can help you. I know that they have one person who coordinates that, and I know she's very busy, so we want to help answer questions for her if possible.
Awesome. Thanks so much. For everyone listening, it sounds like Ag Extension is just here to provide a resource and a service. So feel free to reach out to them. Yeah. They're very resourceful. They know each other. They know who's responsible for what in what county. And so if you're in a county, reach out to somebody and they'll get you connected. And it sounds like Hope can be a facilitator there. And we really appreciate that.
Oh, definitely. And I guess it is Northern Arizona now. Otherwise, I would have put Marjean's name up there, who is our IA agent in Maricopa. In Apache and Navajo counties. So,
well, maybe that can be something we can put on our website with RFPP. We can maybe try to have a little clearinghouse of the different counties and all the different resources based on the counties.
Yes, we're definitely here to help. That's our role, is education. So
awesome. Well, thank you once again. For everyone listening in, we are going to do a quick pause, and I'm going to switch over to Isaac's video and do a quick video. So thank you again, Hope.